God, you guys are gonna believe what I just did. So, I just recorded a video and my mic died halfway through and I couldn't use the video. But I'm back. So, I'm gonna go through the questions all over again. And fuck it, it's all good, shit happens. So, first question, guys, and this is the question answer number 3, the gorilla style one that I posted last night. Okay, so let's get started. All over again. Do you bulk and cut? If so, when should you? Okay, so I like this question because, and I want to say something real quickly too, guys. I chose these questions, so if I didn't answer your question, I'm sorry, but I'm going to do a lot more of these. But I chose these particular questions because a lot of them, after looking through the 500 some comments there was, a lot of them seem to almost repeat themselves, right? So people kind of start asking the same questions. So I'm trying to answer these ones that are kind of more generalized for everybody so that everybody can get the most out of it. Versus like some guys ask questions specifically like, yo, I'm this much, I'm this height, this weight, whatever it is. And me answering those questions wouldn't make much sense because everyone else would be like, cool, I'm glad Tim got his answer, but what about this idea, right? So some of these questions, guys, like I said, are more generalized and kind of hopefully help most of you guys instead of the minority, right? So first question, do you bulk and cut? If so, when should you? Okay, I myself have done both, right? So when I first started weightlifting, I didn't know as much about nutrition as I did now, obviously. And I didn't know much about my body as I do now, obviously, because I was a beginner. So bulking and cutting, in the beginning, yes. But I did for different reasons because I just had a hard time getting enough food in general, period, because I was still growing, I was getting bigger, I was getting taller, so I just ate as much as I could, whenever I could. But as far as bulking and cutting, I'm not really a big fan of traditional bulking. And when I say traditional bulking, I'm talking about the old mentality, or when people will eat everything and anything just to get calories in so they can put on strength and size. Now, will you put on strength and size? Yes. Will it be sloppy? I don't know. It depends on the person. So I've always, now that I've gotten older, I've gotten on the side of, let me kind of eat clean most of the time, cheat, on the weekends here or there, or if you follow me on Snapchat every day. I'm just kidding. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is bulking and cutting. I don't like to think of my diet or dieting or if I'm bulking, I don't like to think in terms of bulking and cutting. I like to think in terms of like, how do I feel, right? So, for example, I know there'll be days when I know I'm gonna squat heavy the next day and I'll eat, pizza and In-N-Out and Chipotle. Not that I don't eat it all the time anyways, but I'll eat a little bit more knowing that I'm gonna do a heavier routine the next day. And I've noticed it would help me, right? So bulking and cutting, not a fan, but I do like to clean bulk, meaning I'm picking my battles, so I'm choosing when I'm gonna eat, a little bit of extra shit prior to a workout or the day before a workout. So yeah, don't get caught up so much so in all these different types of dieting. Just my best advice, because everybody's different, eat what makes you feel optimal. Eat what makes you feel the best in the gym, the best outside of the gym, what helps you get the most sleep, whatever it is, eat what makes you feel the best, right? You shouldn't be waking up in the middle of the night trying to go to the refrigerator and eat a bunch of food because you're dieting too hard. You should be able to sleep solidly through. And I know because I've been there. I've had issues where my diet was a certain way and I was lacking carbs and I was getting up in the middle of the night trying to go eat carbs, right? So do what's best suits you as far as bulking and cutting, right? My best advice is that. Okay, now, how do you overcome a plateau? These are all questions directly from the comments. How do you overcome a plateau? I feel that I am plateauing and not making gains as quickly as I used to. Okay, so there's 3 things I want to say here. First question to that person, I don't know, and this could be you, this could not be you. So you could be in 2 different situations. A lot of the times, beginners, I don't know if this person's a beginner or not, you make noob gains, you make beginner gains where you'll see results in the first couple months of lifting and be like, wow, this is awesome, I feel great, I'm looking better, and that's awesome. So, but as you get older, not necessarily older because you may not be lifting, but if you've consistently lifted as you've aged, right, it's better put,
So if you've been working out for 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, and your gains start to slow down than what they were, and like let's say the past couple months they were faster, right? So these are some things to think about if your gains slow down. If you're a veteran lifter, we'll call it. Sleep, are you getting enough sleep, right? Calories, are you eating enough food? Are you eating the right kind of foods for your body? So that varies with everybody. And then your training, is it stale? Have you been doing the same thing over and over again? Have you not tweaked anything? Have you not tried to push yourself harder? So there's, you're skipping leg day. Like there's so much that comes into it that for these veteran lifters, a lot of times it's going to come down to those things that are outside of the gym, really, though. It's going to come down to food, eating enough, sleeping enough, reducing stress enough. Like if you're, do you go and relax every once in a while instead of being caught up or wound up because of work or a girlfriend or whatever, right? So those are some things to think about. And as far as a beginner lifter, if you stop seeing gains as quickly and if you're like just a few months in, just keep going. You'll see gains again. Challenge yourself, work hard on each set. And here's something to think about. You can go into the gym and kill it, right? But say if you killed it the same way every time you went to the gym, your gains are going to start to slow down. So think the best case, and this is what I'll tell most beginner lifters, is let's say this week you did X amount of weight, 135 on the bench press, right? And then next week you did X amount of weight, 135, and then you just kept doing this, and you just challenge yourself the same way every time. It's going to slow down. You're going to get stale, right? So let's say next week go in and put 140 pounds and see if you can do it. Right? It may not be as many reps, but you're challenging yourself differently and you can kind of start to see gains again. So I'm not saying change up your weightlifting routine all the time and this week, next week, change it, but change the loading, right? Even if you're just going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 pounds, you're still going to be getting stronger. You're going to be getting better. Okay? So that was the most drawn out question. I'm just kidding. When you first started working out in your teens, how did you train and approach the concept of gymming? Okay, I really like this question. I was lucky when I first started working out in my teens that I had cool people around me who were into lifting heavy, right? So I kind of adopted that idea of like, let me lift the most every time I went to the gym, but still had the idea of Arnold, right? Because I was a big fan. So I had the idea of volume training. So I was trying to like, how could I do both? Because I love Arnold and I love lifting heavy, right? So I started like blending the two, right? So I started doing, basically after my first lift, let's say it was a bench press for chest day, right? On the bench press, I would challenge myself in a powerlifting style fashion where it would be 5x5, for example, low reps, high weight. And then every other exercise or accessory exercise afterwards, I would focus on volume, where I'd be doing a little bit lighter weight, higher volume, focusing on the contraction, more bodybuilder style training. And that's honestly how I progressed pretty much all the way throughout my life, except for some time where I did Olympic weightlifting, where Olympic weightlifting, it was literally like not worried about upper body work. It was all pulls, it was squats, front squats, back squats, posterior chain stuff, everything to get you stronger through the leg drive so that you can move the bar. So, and guys, if you don't know what Olympic weightlifting is, because I don't expect you to, it is not CrossFit, right? Olympic weightlifting has been around for hundreds of years. CrossFit's been around for 10 now, something like that. And I'm not knocking CrossFit, but Google Olympic weightlifting. You'll see some like Olympic weightlifters. You might see some CrossFit drizzled in there as well because they've kind of become a lot more popular in the past few years. But the movements are the snatch and the clean and jerk. So when training, when I was younger in my teen years, because this question is about that, there were some times where I would squat all week. I'd change from going back squats to front squats to back squats to front squats, right? And then all sorts of other pulls and things from the floor like deadlifts and different variations of deadlifts, right? To increase my posterior chain strength so that I can move the weight faster, right? With my legs. Okay. Let me wrap that back up in case you guys didn't get it. When I first started, and my approach to the gym was basically the power bodybuilding style of training. So it was bodybuilding mixed with powerlifting, all right? So I just want you guys to make that clear. Now, how often should I change my training? Once a week, once a month, and what's your opinion on overtraining? Okay, so first of all, how often you should change your training really depends on where you're at in your training, how consistent you've been with your training, how consistent you've been with everything outside of your training, diet, sleep, all that stuff. But the reality is this: if you're changing your training schedule every week, what are you really doing? You're bouncing around from here to there, here to there, here to there. I'm gonna do that one and this one, that one and this one. You'll see some results, but honestly, guys, especially when it comes to bodybuilding, like quality over quantity, right? I'm not saying like quantity of like a bunch of different exercises, but I'm saying stick to something. Stick to something. Pick a routine. Stick to it. Give it 4 to 6 weeks. Give it 3 months. Give it 4 months, and really challenge yourself week by week to get better each week on those same exercises, increasing the weight a little bit, instead of like, oh, I didn't see any results this week, let me go and do that program, and I didn't see any, I'll do this program, and you never really giving your body a chance to really adapt to the stress that you're placing on it to see the gains. Okay, so let me get back to that. I gotta like read this. Okay, second part of that question: what's your opinion on overtraining? So overtraining, in my opinion, is bullshit. And when I say bullshit, the idea of it, right? Because the reality is, and everybody's different, overtraining has to do with a couple things, or being overtrained has to do with a couple things. Are you eating enough? Are you sleeping enough? Are you getting enough rest? Are you keeping your cortisol levels low enough? Like, are you challenging yourself hard enough in the gym? So there's all these things that go to overtraining that if you think you're overtraining, a lot of times you're probably not. You're probably just not getting enough food. You're probably not getting enough sleep, right? You're probably not telling your girlfriend to stop yelling at you, like remove yourself from a negative situation. Cortisol levels rising. So all those things have to do, I think, a lot more with overtraining or feeling overtrained than actually the training itself. I think you can go hard in the gym, you can work out the same body part multiple times, not every day. Don't skip other body parts, but you can kind of work on your weak points more than often, I think, in some cases, and for most people, right? Again, it varies for everyone, so don't take my word as stone, right? But it's going to have to do with, seriously, like, are you getting enough food? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you avoiding enough conflict, right? To keep your cortisol levels lower so that your body's not stressed, right? Because stress is a muscle eater. So those are all the things that I would focus on more. Like, if you feel like you're overtrained or whatever it is, focus on everything outside of training, right? And see if those things in your life are right and that are helping you like be optimal in the gym, right? Because I'm assuming when you guys talk about overtraining, you're talking about like, if you're overtrained, then you feel weaker, you feel stressed out, or you feel like you have less energy in a workout, okay? And that's gonna have to do with not necessarily just the workout and how much you're doing, but everything else. So anyways, moving on. Do you do any shoulder mobility exercises / stretches for posture and or mobility work in general? How important do you think it is to do these? Okay, so I posted a video about a week ago, called Time Crunch Shoulder Routine Gym Vlog. And in that video, there's actually a sequence of me doing shoulder dislocations, which is a favorite warm up for shoulders, for anything upper body. Anytime I'm gonna move my arms, right? So back, arms, whatever. Anytime I'm gonna do any movement here. So pretty much all the time, except, well, actually in squats I do it as well. But it's called shoulder dislocation. It helps loosen up the shoulder joint and the shoulder girdle, okay? Check it out, go look at it. That's a form of stretching, an active release that I want you guys to practice, because it's awesome, right? You gotta keep your arms long, but go check the video, you'll see. But as far as other stretches or exercises technique, I like to foam roll. So foam rolling is if you guys see guys in the gym with like the long tubes and they're like laying on it and they're rolling their legs or their quads or their hamstrings, whatever. I love this and I think it's awesome. But I know this kind of going off on a tangent on this stretching thing, but stretching or foam rolling is great, absolutely. But my best recommendation is if you're gonna do any like long static stretches or like, pressure point rolls where you're staying in a certain position that hurts. Like, let's say you're rolling the weight and it hurts on a quad and you're staying in a position and you're holding that for like 10, 20, 30 seconds and like releasing tension. Those kind of things would be best after your exercise. Whereas like active dynamic warm-ups, like for legs, right? A quad, like going into like a lunge is like an active stretch of like the hamstrings and the glutes and all that stuff. So like going in and out of it is kind of warming up. Is a different kind of stretching than the long static stretching. So dynamic warm-ups, dynamic stretches prior to working out, in my opinion, is more effective than static stretching before you work out. So keep the static stuff you're holding for 30, 40 seconds after the workouts, dynamic stuff prior to the workout. So that wasn't really the question, but I hope that helped. It's part of the question. So, okay. How does a clean, proper diet, make sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay. How does a clean, proper diet lead to strength gains? I have heard of people just eating anything to put on weight and get stronger. I have noticed I am stronger when I am at a slighter, lighter weight. That was really funny, but okay. So this kind of goes back to like the bulking and cutting idea, and what I kind of said was that I've always noticed when, me personally, when I eat clean, I feel better. Not just like mentally, but I feel better in the gym. I feel stronger. I feel more sturdy. Granted, that is with days of not eating clean, coupled with most of my time eating clean. So hope that we understand that. Now, he's heard of people just eating anything to put on weight to get stronger. That you can't get stronger by eating more food. You put more weight, you hold more water, or you hold more fat. Your body can move around more weight because you are heavier in most cases. Okay, but as far as the idea of him saying that when he's eating clean, he notices he's at like a lighter weight, but he feels stronger. So the reason being, guys, is that your body actually, fat cells secrete like extra estrogen, and estrogen is like you need it in your body, right? Just like you need testosterone in your body, guys and girls, right? Just different ratios. But guys, having too much estrogen can cause weight gain, obviously, right? So the more fat you can get fatter easier. I know that sounds shitty, but the point is this: he's talking about feeling stronger when he's less fat, okay? Because he's eating clean. What is happening is your body maybe is not increasing estrogen as much, so that estrogen balance, the estrogen is a little lower, testosterone might be a little bit higher or more moderate where it needs to be, and then your body's more efficient, right? Because you don't have the extra estrogen slowing you down, okay? So that's to give you an idea. I notice I personally feel much better when I'm clean and eating dirty every once in a while, or every other day on my Snapchat. Okay, as a beginner to weightlifting, and I like this question a lot. This is going to be the last question. And again, if I don't answer your question, I'm sorry. I love you. There's so much more coming. As a beginner to weightlifting, I am not pushing a lot of weight on the squat, just 135 pounds. But at times, my back is feeling a little sore. Do you think I should invest in belts or knee straps, wraps, and all that goodness? Or should I be working on building up my form and strength and see if that fixes the problem? Now, I'm super happy. Whoever wrote this question, they answered their own question within the question. So what I'm trying to say is, guys, when you first start weightlifting, this guy said he's a beginner. Number one, you shouldn't be thinking about, well, you're obviously thinking about it, but you shouldn't be worried about this. You know, I'm only lifting 135 pounds on the squat, he's saying. That's okay. Like, no one expects you to come to the gym the first day and be like, boom, I'm repping out 315 like a beast. Like I seen that guy on Instagram doing it. And that other guy, I almost said his name, the other guy who like lifts, 7,000 plates and he's getting spotted. Anyways, that's a whole nother time. We're going to talk about it, the fake spotting bullshit. But guys, when you're in the gym, 135 pounds to a beginner, squat, bench, whatever, that's fine. When I first started weightlifting, when I first started bench pressing, guess how much I was working with? 135 pounds. The same thing, even less than that sometimes. So don't worry so much about like, hey, I know I want to build muscle, but I need to lift a bunch of weight because I see these guys on Instagram or whatever lifting all this weight. You guys have to understand that like you need to get better for yourself, right? You need to focus on your numbers and increase them slowly but surely, because slowly but surely you're going to keep getting better. If you're not getting stronger, right, most of the time you're probably not building a ton of muscle, right? I'm not saying you have to get super strong to build a bunch of muscle, because there's a lot of strong guys who look strong with a lot of muscle who aren't very strong. So it's not always just about muscle and strength, right? But you guys have to understand, I'm talking about numbers. If your numbers are 135 here, 135 there, squat, bench, whatever it is, and you feel sore, that's fine. You're a beginner, you're new, or you're fresh, or you haven't been working out for that long, it's okay. The point is this: come back week by week and focus on getting better, even if it's by 5 pounds, if it's by 10 pounds, it doesn't matter. Don't get caught up in what everyone else is doing, focus on what you're doing. So, but also to answer that question a little bit more in depth, he said, do I need to invest in belts or knee straps and stuff like that because my lower back's feeling sore? So here's the reality, guys. Whoever wrote this question, I don't know what his form looks like. I don't know if he is doing it with his back rounded. I don't know if he's doing it pushing his knees out too far or keeping his knees too far. So there's so much more. And guys, I want to tell you before I answer the rest of this question, I'm going to do video tutorials, like a series on squatting, on benching, on deadlifting, so that you guys know exactly how to do it, or best know how to do it when you go into the gym, right? Because these are like the cornerstone of like bodybuilding and powerlifting. Obviously, that is powerlifting, squat, bench, deadlift, but these kind of movements are going to help you guys excel faster, right? Instead of, if you don't do them, you can still make gains, you can still make progress, but it's just not the same. Let's be real, right? So these things I'm going to do a little video series on and show you guys exactly how I do them so that you could figure out how to do them best for yourself. I'll give you as many tips and tricks as I can. It's going to be a video series. Anyways, keep going on to these questions because I don't want you guys to get bored, because I know sometimes I just get to the point. So here's the point. Do you need all this stuff to get better, right? The knees, straps, the belts, blah, blah, blah. You don't. You don't. A lot of times, like I said, he answered the question within his question. You need to focus on your form, your technique. So I'm going to give you guys some more of that, a lot more of that actually, for a lot more exercises. But next week, I'm going to start a series on the squat, okay, so that we can learn that in like sequences instead of just like sit here and stand up and down, right? I want to show you guys exactly how I do it, the best tips I can give you. So guys, if I didn't answer your question today, it's okay. There's so much more coming. So many more times I want to do this because there's a lot more questions that I want to answer. It's just, it'd be like an hour or 2 hour long video. You guys would be like, enough, this is done. So find me on Snapchat, Bradley Martyn. Find me on Twitter, YouTube. Oh, this is YouTube. Twitter, Instagram, all that. I'll put the links in the description below. If you guys are interested in some merch on my site, I'll put the link in the description below. And let's get better together, guys. So much more coming soon. I don't always say that, and that kind of sounds funny because some guy called me out in the video. He was like, yo, you always say so much more coming soon. Just post this shit. So, you got me. But I'm going to do this. So next week, I'm going to start a squat series. And Friday, it may not be Friday because I got to talk to my guy about that. But I have a cool leg routine video that I'm going to be putting up. It might come out on Monday. So look for the squat sequence on Wednesday. And yeah, so much more coming soon, guys. I said it again. I don't even care. See you guys soon. Tweet me. Let's go. And, oh wait, one more thing. Hold on a second. Bam, come here. Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's your dog. It's Bam. I just want to show Bam to you guys. Bam, how old are you now? Oh, you were just talking a whole bunch earlier, but now you're not talking about. So she's almost 15 weeks, I think it is. Or 12 or 13, somewhere in there. Her name is Bam. She's a beautiful pit bull. If you guys are asking, you've seen her on Snapchat or Instagram, whatever. She's a pit bull. And she's got green eyes. And she loves you. So, Bam, tell me you love him. No? Okay. Did you eat? You want to go eat? Let's go eat. All right. See you guys soon. You better not potty.